Raiden Shogun, one of the 7 Archons that released nearly 4 years ago. Is she still meta? Has she fallen off? Is she even viable anymore? No matter the case, this video will cover how to build her to reach her full potential. Starting off with her kit, her skill does an instance of a decent amount of electro damage. After that, it does coordinated attacks and boosts the ultimate damage of the active character based on the amount of energy that the character currently has. Her ultimate does an instance of respectable damage and infuses her basic attacks with the electro damage. She also regenerates energy for all allies 5 times throughout her ultimate and does more damage based on the amount of energy your allies use by converting their energy used into resolve stacks. The cooldown on the ultimate damage boost, that is dependent on the energy your allies use, lasts for about 5 minutes after her ultimate has been used, which should be plenty of time to increase her ultimate damage to the max. Onto her talents. Her first talent gives her 2 resolve stacks for any energy particle obtained and has a cooldown of 3 seconds. And her second talent increases the amount of energy restored for allies and also increases her electro damage bonus based on her energy recharge after 100%. And then when it comes to leveling up her talents, you want to prioritize leveling up her ultimate and then her skill. For her weapons, obviously her signature weapon is her best in slot, but the best 5-star alternative would be the Staff of Homa because of its insane amount of crit damage and attack percentage. But for free-to-play alternatives, the catch is really good because it increases her energy recharge, which helps a lot with her artifact set damage bonus, and it increases her crit damage and crit rate for her ultimate. Another free-to-play alternative would be the Wavebreaker's Fin because it increases ultimate damage based on the energy capacity of the entire team. Now, if you choose to run her as a Hyper Bloom DPS instead of a traditional DPS, elemental mastery weapons like the Dragon's Mane would be better for her. For her artifacts, the Emblem of Severed Fate set is by far her best set. You're going to want to have energy recharge for her Sands, electro damage bonus for her Goblet, and crit damage or crit rate for her Circlet. Now, if you want to run her, again, as a Hyper Bloom DPS, you're going to want to run her with the Flower of Paradise Lost set, with Elemental Mastery as the main stat for all of her artifacts. The Gilded Dreams is also a pretty good alternative if you want to run her as a Hyper Bloom DPS. For her teams, Raiden can be used as either a sub DPS or main DPS. As a main DPS, she can be used on the Raiden International team, which consists of Raiden as the main DPS, Qin Chui and Qiang Ling as sub DPS, whose damage comes from their ultimates, and Bennett as a support / healer. This team is extremely free to play as it consists of 3 4-stars that released early on into the game. Another option as the main DPS is on an Overload team, which Raiden acts as the main DPS, Chevruse as the Overload team enabler, and then Bennett and Kojusara as attack buffers. You can also run her on a traditional hypercarry DPS team with Bennett, Kojusara, and Kazuha or Cylonen. Now, this is where her playstyle starts to branch off because you could use her as both a main and sub DPS on a Hyper Bloom team. On a Hyper Bloom team, you can use any Dendro, Hydro, or Electro character as a driver as long as you have consistent Hydro, Dendro, and Electro applicators on your team. For example, you can run Raiden, Nahida, Baishu, and Chinchuo with either Baishu or Raiden acting as your driver, since Baishu can continuously apply Dendro on field but lacks personal DPS, while Raiden applies less but has more personal damage. And then as an honorable mention for her supports, Kojusara, specifically C6, so this is a bit of an expensive support. Kojusara is an extremely good support with Raiden, considering her personal sub DPS damage on her ultimate, which Raiden buffs. Her crit damage buff, once she reaches C6, is also pretty insane. Her attack bonus buff is respectable, and she's an Electro character, meaning that she gives the team the Electro Resonance, which means that you can collect more energy, which is always good on a Raiden team. And yeah, although Bennett, Kazuha, and Cylonen are all pretty good alternatives, Kojusara just synergizes perfectly with Raiden to the point to where she's pretty much like the best or a really good alternative.
の雷動くな。
燃えろ。へっ、みんながそばに。
散れ。
くらい。
法の裁きを受け。
全力こ
浄土を開放させ見切りました。稲光、すなわち永遠なり。裁きの雷。投降しろ。最後の帝国だ。
冒険だ。みんなは俺が。
来戦見切りました。ここより弱滅の時。裁きの雷。これは必要な武力だ。
燃えろ。
聖なる来光。
マジでショート行こう。みんながそばにいてくれるわ。いて驚かせてしまい。
武器を捨てろ。死ね。稲光、すなわち永遠なり。逃げ道はありません。投降しろ。
全力攻撃だ。
イカズチに叩く。裁きのイカズチ。ここより弱滅の時。動くな。
燃えろ。
これは
みんなは俺が。
来戦見切りました。
全力攻撃。
聖なる来光。悪く稲光、すなわち永遠なり。裁きの雷。そこ。法の裁きを受けてこい。
驚かせてしまったか。へっ、燃えろ。みんなは俺が。
死ね。逃げ道はありません。武器を捨てろ。
はい。
イカズチに叩く。翼よ。裁きの雷。
全力攻撃。
無我の境地。投降しろ。最後の帝国だ。武器を捨てろ。
みんなは俺が。
聖なる来光。来戦逃げ道はありません。稲光、すなわち永遠なり。裁きの
くらい。
これは
みんながそばに。
死ね。逃げ道はありません。無我の境地。
In conclusion, Raiden has definitely fallen off, but that doesn't mean that she isn't a viable unit. Her numbers are pretty bad for today's standards, right? Compared to Mavuika, Nuviled, Arlecchino, or even Clorinde, right? And Varisa especially. But she's still pretty good considering her age. I would personally recommend that people to wait and see what Notcry has in store for us and just wait for a possible Electro character who can hopefully buff Electro units who, I don't know, they may or may not be coming soon. According to some leaks, an Electro character has been leaked. They could be a main DPS, sub DPS, support, healer, who knows? But they could be buffing Electro and hopefully buffing Raiden more specifically. But I mean, that's really all just hypothetical. It really is a shame that a character with such a fun kit and someone who's so important to the lore and the plot of the game, it just isn't like lore accurate anymore, right? Like her feats in the lore just aren't comparable to the damage she does in the game. And then the fact that she's being reran right before Notcry, right? Like the nation with numerous factions and highly anticipated characters. I mean, it really just forces players into an extremely tight gap to just save, which is pretty annoying. But if you prioritize a character overall, such as if you prioritize their design, or you really like their splash art, you like the lore, you like their writing, right, their animations, just the aesthetic, or even just their kit, right? If you just like a character's kit for being unique and versatile and still viable, rather than prioritizing character based on how meta they are, I definitely think Raiden would be a good character for you to pick, but only if you have enough savings for Nodcry, since that same logic could be applied to all the new characters coming up, because there will be a lot of highly anticipated characters, like I mean the Hexen Circle, the Fatui, right? Farca is gonna be there, possibly Colombina, maybe Il Dottore, Capitano maybe will make a return. I'd say some people think that's a bit of a copium take, but he definitely could. Durin's probably gonna come out. You know, maybe Nodcry has this sort of moon goddess or something, like an Archon-esque character. Alice, Barbeloff, just a lot of highly anticipated characters that have a lot of lore, and that will definitely take a big part in the plot. Our chances are gonna come out in Nodcry, and they're actually going to be meta, right? Since, I mean, they're new characters and stuff.